Hi. Okay. Unacheka. Ouch. My name is Veronicah Mungai. I am the head of operations here at Triply. Now, my background, I've had a very interesting journey in operations because if you told me 6-7 years ago that I would be in operations, I'd probably think you're lying, because I remember now how I got into operations actually was a former boss of mine. He was the then CEO of the company. I mean, I'll not mention the name, but he was the CEO of that particular company. That business had acquired a property in hospitality, and my manager and I were moved to the property to ensure it picks up, basically ensure the numbers are making sense. We get into the property. 1 year later, my manager resigns, and at the time she was resigning, she was the general manager of the hotel. I assumed the next thing would be we hire for another general manager. But the CEO approached me and told me, why don't you take up, Veronica, why don't you take up operations? You understand the systems. You understand, you've been here for almost a year now. You can be able to actually do this. I remember fighting it at first because I had only been in hospitality for like just a year. And I was working with people who were there in the industry for 13 years plus. So it was quite intimidating. But interestingly, he convinced me to get into it. And if there's something I'm most appreciative of, is that belief in me. I think even the convincing to get into operations, because here we are 6 years later in operations. So basically, my day-to-day at Triply is ensuring everyone is basically making it easy for everyone to perform their job so that they are able to deliver to their full potential. Well, Triply has had a very remarkable journey. I think one of the things I'm grateful for is being part of that journey. We have evolved even from the name itself. When we started, or rather 3 years ago, back in 2023, we were TravelTech Limited, and now we are Triply. So even the name change has been a journey in itself. I remember from the onset, we used to joke around a lot because you'd call someone and you're trying to say, first and foremost, remember, we were so new in the market that nobody had ever heard of us. That's how new we were. Literally, you were calling up a client, having to introduce the company itself, where you are, where you're located, what you do. So every time you'd say Tripitaka, everybody would go, Trippy what? Takawa? Like the name itself was hard. So seeing the journey to know Triply, which I think is a decent name. I love the name Triply. I also feel it's a good name. So first and foremost, the journey of the name itself, looking at even the journey of the product. Remember, we started with short-term rentals. The goal was always to be the backbone of travel in Africa, but we moved around with the product in a bit to get to that vision, or to actualize that vision. So from short-term rentals, we got into the event space, had our fair share of lessons and learnings, as you may all know, and then now we're in the travel space. From the onset, the goal for Triply was always to be the backbone of travel within Africa. So everything built, and everything from even the systems themselves to the way we were communicating to our brand colors were built with Africa in mind. But fast forward to 2024, when we started getting into the travel space. First, we created our own travel agency, which now informed the system that we have built for travel businesses. The more we got into the travel industry and the more we built for travel businesses, we knew we were no longer just serving the African market. We were going for the global market. So it was only a matter of time for us to make changes to now communicate the bold new future that Triply was stepping into, hence the rebrand. Rebranding from an operations point of view is a nightmare, I won't lie. And I feel like most people, when they hear operations, they don't necessarily understand what operations is about, because if a company exists, operations exists. Operations touch on different facets in a company. Literally every single thing in a company is within the bracket of operations. Customer support, the clients that you're serving, the systems that you have in place to serve those particular clients, that is operations. Internal systems to make the day-to-day run, even the kitchen itself is operations. Interestingly, even the kitchen, running the kitchen itself is operations. Now, from a rebranding point of view, remember, we already had existing work systems, workflows. How, if a client calls in, for example, how are you handling that particular call? What are the kind of information you're picking to be able to assist them the best? All those were structures that were already in place. Now you rebrand and you're pushing out a new, bolder product into the market. Now you're now recreating the systems again afresh. Not just the systems, remember, you also have a team that had specific roles. These roles have shifted, which means you're now recommunicating the expectations and different roles to these particular individuals, or rather to the team members. Now, there's also retraining. Anytime you push out a product, before a product goes out, there's quite a lot of internal training, because the people who are involved, not just the people, there's the people who are building and the people who are now going to be selling and the guys who are now going to be handling the clients. All those people have to be retrained on the product. So if you were to ask me, rebranding for operations is a nightmare. However, I think one of the things that really helped us during that entire process of rebranding was the fact that the team already knew it was coming. A lot of communication had gone into, way before we even started doing the whole rebrand, a lot of communication had gone into to the team to tell them, look, this is the journey we are taking. This is the process. We have started to build, now gearing up to releasing the product in the market. So it was a question of when, not if, the rebrand is happening. So everybody knew this was going to come. So eventually, when we now started the changes internally, everybody showed up and they showed out. That made it easier. The biggest challenge was the fact that there was so much happening internally, and at the end of the day, the client was not meant to feel the shift. For them, it was supposed to be gradual with the communication, but not flows as changing internally. Maintaining that, having day-to-day operations continuously running as well internally, there's so much going on that for me has been, or rather was, the biggest challenge. With the rebrand, we are no longer a service provider. We are a growth partner, because everything that Triply is putting into work, or everything that the system is about ensuring we get these businesses to the next level. Now, if we can simplify the operations, which means they're able to serve more clients, which means they're able to grow their revenue, then that no longer makes us as a service provider. We are no longer a service provider. We are now a growth partner. What the Triply platform has done is it has made it easier and faster for travel businesses to serve their clients, as well as manage their day-to-day operations. And let me explain. When we were running Triply Travel, because to build what we currently have, we needed to first establish the travel agency and learn firsthand of the challenges, then build the system. One of the biggest challenges for us was, yes, we were getting the leads, but servicing those leads was quite hectic. one lead could take an entire day, and it's mainly because of everything that goes into creating a package for a client. In between these, let's say flights, for example, by the time you're picking up the system, or rather you're picking up the phone to call different airlines or different handlers that you work with to confirm availability, there is that first. Then secondly, there is, assuming they're staying at a hotel, by the time you're picking up the phone, confirming that the hotel is available. And on top of that, there's the different changes that come with the client's requirements. Let's say they need a few things changed. A whole day is gone. Now with Triply, everything is at a click of a button. You need flights, click a button. You need hotels, at a click of a button. You can confirm availability and even make changes. You need to collect payments, a click of a button. You need to create an itinerary, a click of a button. You need to send a quotation, again, a click of a button. So to answer you, it's how we have reduced the amount of time it takes to do what travel businesses are created to do. That is how Triply is making a difference. What excites me about Triply, first, is the system that we have built. It's one of its kind, and the fact that we have taken it to the market and we can see travel businesses uptake it and appreciate it. And we can map out the difference between when they had Triply and when they did not have Triply. That is the most exciting part about this. And then the future of Triply. We are no longer gunning for the African markets. We are going global. And it's the kind of vision that scares me, but the good kind of fear. The fear that keeps you on your toes, the fear that ensures you are sharpening your skills and wits to match up to the global markets. So yeah, I would say that.